What if I told you that the life you're living right now, every joy, every loss, every strange coincidence that keeps repeating, is being scripted by a single thought you keep carrying? Not a random thought, not a passing one, but an ancient one, the kind you don't even hear anymore because it's woven into your soul like background music. Neville Goddard whispered that the greatest secret was not outside of us. It was the inner code of I am. Those two words, once simple, silent but eternal, are the seed of every reality you will ever touch. When you say I am, whether in fear or in faith, whether in joy or in despair, the universe listens as if you are writing law into existence, not because the universe wants to punish or reward you, but because the soul agreed to mirror what you dare to claim. And here's the part most people forgot. The thought that binds you isn't the one you notice. It's the one buried, the thought you kept repeating when you were broken, when you felt abandoned, when you swore life was unfair. That thought never left you. It dressed itself as reality. It took shape in your relationships, in your body, in your destiny. Neville said, "Your imagination is God creating through you." But most people imagine unconsciously. They live as if their inner movie has no projector, no director, no writer, and yet their soul is writing every frame, over and over. Think about it. Have you ever wondered why the same wound keeps showing up in different faces? Why you leave one relationship only to fall into another with the same shadow? Why opportunities slip away at the last moment, as if something unseen doesn't want you to rise? It's not coincidence, it's not fate, it's not even bad luck. It is thought. Thought repeated, thought believed, thought worshipped with your attention, until it becomes law. And here's the magnetic truth Neville pointed to. You are not bound by what anyone did to you. You are not even bound by the past. You are bound only by the thought you keep repeating about who you are. When you say, "I am unworthy," life bends itself to prove it. When you say, "I am cursed," the days align to echo it. When you say, "I am forgotten," people and circumstances mirror that script back to you. But when you dare to claim the opposite, when you whisper to yourself in the silence, "I am chosen, I am remembered, I am more than this body, this pain, this limitation," reality has no choice but to obey. Because the I am is not a word. It is the voice of your soul remembering itself. This is why Neville said your imagination is not a game. It is not a tool. It is the very place where God reveals himself as you. But here is the hidden danger. If you do not choose the thought will choose you. If you do not direct the inner movie, the broken memory will. And that is why so many live under a silent curse, not from outside, but from the thought they forgot they agreed to carry. So I ask you, what thought has been programming your reality all along? What belief has been whispering "I am" in the shadows of your mind, while you wonder why life keeps repeating the same scene? Because until you face that, you will mistake the screen for reality, forgetting that you were the projector all along. Neville once said, "Change your conception of yourself, and you will automatically change the world in which you live." And maybe that is the only revolution your soul has ever been waiting for. Dare to believe in the reality of your assumption and watch the world play its part relative to its fulfillment. But most people never dare, because they forgot something far older than their current name or story. Before you were born, before you opened your eyes to this lifetime, your soul agreed to play a role, not forever, not as punishment, but as a test of remembrance. You whispered a thought into yourself like a seed. "I am small, I am powerless, I am broken." Not because that was your truth, but because that was the obstacle that would force you to remember. Think about it. If your soul never knew limitation, how could it ever awaken the power hidden inside? If you never felt weak, how would you remember what it feels like to be infinite? So the thought became the script. You walked into this life carrying an invisible agreement to forget who you are until the forgetting itself breaks you open. And that is where Neville's wisdom burns like fire, because he insisted that imagination is not a trick. It is the bridge between the amnesia you chose and the memory your soul is begging to awaken. How many times have you caught yourself saying, "That's just who I am"? Maybe you said it with pride, maybe with resignation, maybe with tears. But those words are sacred keys, and because every time you declare "I am," the world bends to prove you right. If you say, "I am unlucky," watch as accidents line up. If you say, I am invisible, notice how the world walks past you. If you say, I am not enough, feel how every relationship cracks under that weight. This is not random, this is law. And the soul, whether in joy or in chains, obeys the law it speaks. But here's the hidden pain. Most of those I am thoughts were not chosen consciously. They were inherited. Maybe you grew up hearing, money doesn't grow on trees, until poverty felt like destiny. Maybe you were told, you're just like your father, or you'll never be good enough, until those words carved themselves into your spine. Maybe you absorbed the silence of a mother's sorrow, or the rage of a father's disappointment, until their thoughts became yours. Neville said that imagination creates reality, but what he didn't sugarcoat was this. If you let the wrong imagination live in you, it will rule you like a ghost. And so many people live haunted by thoughts they never consciously chose, thoughts that belong to their ancestors, into their culture, into their wounds. But the soul made the agreement to take them on, not as punishment, but as a chance to break the chain. This is where it gets uncomfortable. Because if you realize your thought is the architect of your reality, then no one is left to blame. Not your parents, not the system, not even God. It is terrifying, but also liberating. Because if you wrote it with thought, you can rewrite it with thought. Neville told a story of imagining himself in Barbados, though he was poor and stranded in New York. He held the thought so vividly that it felt more real than his circumstances. And the impossible happened. Doors opened, passages cleared, and he found himself exactly where his mind had already been. He didn't wait for proof. He didn't beg for permission. He assumed the state, and the world bent. That is the code your soul knew, but agreed to forget. That thought is the key buried under layers of lies you repeated until they felt like truth. So I ask you now, what I am thought have you been worshipping without realizing it? What assumption have you been kneeling to in silence, while wondering why life feels like a circle with no exit? Because the moment you dare to question it, the moment you whisper a new I am from the depth of your being, the old chains start to crack. And maybe that's why you're here. Not to learn something new, but to remember the power you once had, and buried under the weight of a thought you agreed to carry. The soul doesn't break you to destroy you. It breaks you so that you finally stop repeating the thought that bound you, and start imagining the truth you were meant to live. Neville warned us. The world is a mirror, forever reflecting what you are doing within yourself. Most people think prayer is about asking, begging, pleading, hoping some external power will hear their cries and fix what feels broken. But Neville shattered that illusion. He said, prayer is not words, it is assumption. It is entering the silence and claiming I am until it feels so real. The world has no choice but to obey. And here's the paradox. Your soul has been praying all along, not with your lips, but with the thoughts you keep alive. Every time you say, I am unwanted, you are praying. Every time you whisper, I am weak, you are praying. Every time you groan, I'm tired of life, you are praying. The universe is not judging the words, it is echoing them, it is painting them into your body, your relationships, your path, because the I am is the hidden altar of creation. This is why Neville insisted that imagination was the true temple, not a building, not a ritual, but the inner act of daring to assume yourself into a new state. He said, assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, not tomorrow, not someday, but now. And here is where the mystery deepens, because when you dare to feel as though the desire is already real, you are no longer just a seeker. You are God, remembering himself through you. Most people hear that and feel fear. They say, how can I be God? That's blasphemy. But Neville was not speaking of arrogance. He was speaking of union. The I am in you is the same I am Moses heard in the desert. It is the same voice that whispered to prophets and poets and dreamers across time. It is not outside of you, it has never been. It is the silence inside you that never dies. The one thought that keeps creating even when you're not paying attention. And here's the part your mind resists. You can never stop imagining. You can only choose what to imagine. If you refuse to choose, the old wounds will choose for you. The inherited thoughts will take the throne, and life will keep looping like a broken record until your soul is ready to break the pattern. But what happens when you dare to flip the script? When you wake in the morning and instead of repeating the same complaint, you whisper, "I am chosen." When instead of saying, "I am stuck," you close your eyes and feel the movement of freedom. When instead of declaring, "I am unlucky," you step into the state of being favored, guided, remembered. Neville said the feeling itself is the secret. Not just words, not empty affirmations, but the vibration that seeps into your bones until reality bends to match it. And isn't it strange how when you test it, even in small things, life shifts? A phone call arrives out of nowhere. A door opens. A shadow lifts. The mind calls it coincidence, but the soul whispers, "No, you remembered. There's something else Neville left us." He said your outer world is nothing but crystallized imagination. Every object, every event, every meeting was once a silent assumption held by someone's "I am." If you look around your life right now, you are staring at yesterday's prayers, the ones you didn't even know you were saying. And maybe that is why you feel the pull to this moment. Because your soul is tired of worshipping thoughts that were never yours, tired of bowing to beliefs that were planted in you by fear, by pain, by someone else's brokenness. Now the silence is asking you, will you dare to remember? Will you dare to stop repeating "I am lost" and start whispering "I am found"? Will you stop kneeling to the thought that bound you and rise with the thought that frees you? Neville's voice echoes even now. You are already that which you want to be, and your refusal to believe it is the only reason you do not see it. So maybe the greatest sin is not action, not failure, not even doubt. Maybe the greatest sin is forgetting the "I am" within you and letting the thought you never chose keep choosing your life for you. Neville said, "Dare to believe in the reality of your assumption and watch the world play its part relative to its fulfillment." The question is not whether imagination works. It always works. The question is, which imagination are you serving? Because the truth is, most people are faithful to their wounds. They are loyal to the old story. They keep repeating the same broken thought until it becomes a religion they don't even know they worship. "I am unlucky. I am unwanted. I am cursed." These are prayers in disguise, and the soul obeys them faithfully. But here is the doorway Neville opened for us. The moment you stop agreeing with the old thought, it begins to lose its power. And this is not just theory. Life proves it the second you test it. Think of the last time you carried a heavy belief. Maybe you said, "I'll never find love." And what happened? Every relationship mirrored that thought back to you until it felt like destiny. But the moment you dared to whisper, "I am loved," even when no one was there, the energy shifted. It didn't happen overnight, but slowly reality bent. A new face appeared. An old wound softened. The mirror cracked, because the thought was no longer unchallenged. This is why Neville insisted that imagination is the only reality. Because even when the outer world argues against you, the inner world is already sowing seeds for tomorrow. But here's where most people give up. They say, "I tried affirmations, I tried believing, nothing changed." What they don't realize is that the thought they are fighting is ancient. It didn't start last week. It has roots in childhood, in generations before, in whispers passed down through bloodlines. It feels immovable because it has been worshipped for centuries. But your soul chose this exact battle, not to drown in it, but to free yourself, and by doing so, free those who came before you. When you dare to say, "I am free," you are not only rewriting your story, you are breaking the inheritance of fear that has lived in your family for lifetimes. And that is why the old thought resists. It will rise like a storm when you begin to challenge it. It will make you doubt. It will throw shadows at you. It will try to convince you it is stronger. But remember this, the old thought has no power unless you agree. Neville gave us the secret. You don't fight the thought directly. You replace it with assumption. You step into the feeling of the wish fulfilled, as if the old thought never existed. It's like walking out of a prison cell, not by breaking the bars, but by realizing the door was never locked. The thought was never the truth. It was only an agreement, and agreements can be broken. Close your eyes for a moment. Think of the thought that has ruled you the longest, the one that whispers in the night when you're too tired to resist, the one that convinced you this life is smaller than you dreamed. Now imagine yourself stepping outside of it, not arguing with it, not wrestling it, just walking away into a new state. And in that new state, feel the words, "I am chosen, I am remembered, I am already free. Breathe it until your body believes it. Breathe it until the old thought feels like a stranger's voice. Breathe it until reality has no choice but to catch up. Neville reminded us, disregard appearances, conditions, in fact, all evidence of your senses that deny the fulfillment of your desire. Rest in the assumption that you already are what you want to be. This is not denial. It is faith in action. It is memory waking up inside you. Because you were never meant to live chained to the thought that bound you. You were meant to remember the thought that frees you. And once you taste that freedom, nothing the old world throws at you will ever hold the same weight. So I ask you again, what is the thought you are ready to let go of tonight? What is the lie you are finally brave enough to stop worshipping? Because the moment you do, the soul begins to rise, and the new reality you've been waiting for is already waiting for you. Neville once declared, assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, and continue feeling it is fulfilled until that which you feel objectifies itself. This is where the mind begins to argue, because the mind says, how can I pretend something is real when it's not? How can I walk around saying I am wealthy when my bank account is empty? How can I say I am loved when I'm alone in bed at night? The answer is hidden in the soul. You are not pretending, you are remembering. You are stepping into the thought that was always true, but forgotten under the weight of illusion. Neville called it assuming the state. It is not fantasy, it is not escape, it is the conscious choice to live from the end, as though it already happened. Imagine a seed. When you plant it in the soil, you cannot see the tree yet, but you assume the tree exists. You water it, you protect it, you act as though the invisible seed already holds the destiny of a forest. This is the same with the soul. When you assume the state of the wish fulfilled, you are planting a seed in the unseen, and reality has no choice but to catch up. Let's get more concrete. Suppose you feel trapped in poverty. The old thought says, I am poor, I am stuck, I am powerless. But tonight, before sleep, you dare to imagine yourself holding money, paying bills with ease, walking freely. You don't beg, you don't ask, you don't hope. You assume. You feel the relief as though it is done. You drift into sleep with that vibration in your body. And slowly, the mirror changes. Not always dramatically at first, but doors open, opportunities appear, ideas come, and little by little the thought I am poor loses its throne. Neville taught the same with relationships. If you walk around saying, I am unwanted, I am invisible, the world bends to prove it. But if you dare to assume I am loved, I am desired, I am cherished, something shifts. Not because the world is tricked, but because your vibration commands reality to echo it back. And the strange thing? It works even when your senses scream the opposite. That's the real test. Not whether you can affirm when things look good, but whether you can assume when nothing yet proves it. Neville told a story of a woman who longed for reconciliation with her estranged husband. Instead of begging or chasing, she sat quietly, imagined him sitting beside her, holding her hand. She assumed it until it felt real, and within weeks, he returned, exactly as her inner movie had written it. Coincidence? No. Law. Because the soul does not wait for permission. It creates. And when you align your imagination with truth instead of fear, you begin to see miracles. This is why Neville said the feeling is the secret, because words without feeling are empty. But when you feel the state as though it is done, the vibration is undeniable. It is like tuning a radio. If you stay stuck on the frequency of I am broken, you will keep hearing the same sad song. But the moment you turn the dial, you pick up a new signal, and life delivers a new soundtrack. So what state are you living in right now? Not the one you tell people about, not the mask you wear, but the one you fall asleep in at night, the thought you carry when no one is watching, because that state is writing tomorrow. Neville's wisdom was not about escaping life. It was about reclaiming authorship. He reminded us that you are not the victim of the world you see. You are the projector of it. And here is the uncomfortable truth. If you don't assume the state consciously, the old state will keep assuming you. That is why you must dare it even when it feels insane, even when the world laughs, even when nothing looks like it will change. Because the second you claim, I am, the universe begins rearranging itself around you. So tonight, ask yourself, what state am I ready to assume? Not tomorrow, not when things look better, but now. Because the soul is waiting, and reality is already listening. Neville once wrote, "You are already that which you want to be, and your refusal to believe it is the only reason you do not see it." Sit with that for a moment. You are already, not becoming, not waiting, already. But the thought that bound you made you forget. It whispered that you were powerless. It convinced you that you were small. It echoed through generations, wrapping you in a cloak of limitation until you mistook the cloak for your skin. That thought has been programming your reality all along, but tonight, maybe you feel it breaking. Maybe you sense the cracks forming in the lie. Maybe for the first time, you are beginning to remember the truth Neville gave his life to reveal. The I am is not just affirmation. It is not a trick to manifest material things. It is the living voice of God in you, the spark that never dies, the eternal truth that bends reality because it is reality. When you whisper I am, you are not making a wish. You are declaring a law, and the universe moves like water around that declaration. If you dare to declare I am chosen, you begin to walk paths where doors open. If you whisper I am remembered, people, places, and events rise up to reflect it. If you stand in I am free, chains fall that you thought could never break. Not because the world changed first, but because you did. Neville used to say, "The world is yourself pushed out." That means everything you meet, every shadow, every joy, every test, is a reflection of the state you are living in. And when you shift the state, the reflection changes. But here's the catch. The mirror doesn't argue. It doesn't wait for you to believe perfectly. It simply reflects what you assume. So if you walk around saying, I am unlucky, the mirror shows you proof. If you say, I am forgotten, the mirror offers silence. If you dare to say, I am chosen, the mirror cannot help but echo that. It is law. The question is, will you keep agreeing with the thought that bound you? Or will you finally rise into the I am that was waiting all along? Because, make no mistake, the thought will not leave quietly. It will fight. It will whisper doubts. It will tempt you to surrender. But if you persist, even when the evidence denies it, the soul wins. And the world, no matter how stubborn, bends to the persistence of imagination. So maybe this is why you found this message tonight. Not by chance, not by accident, but because your soul was ready to hear the reminder it planted long ago. You already knew this. You simply forgot. But forgetting was part of the deal. Now, you are remembering. Neville left us a map, but only you can walk it. Only you can choose the new thought. Only you can whisper the I am that frees you. And when you do it, you will see what he saw. That the world is not against you. That God was never outside of you. That the life you long for is already yours the moment you dare to claim it. So tonight, as you close your eyes, I want you to test it. Don't wait for tomorrow. Don't postpone the miracle. Assume the state now. Whisper the I am now, and let the world play its part. Because the thought that programmed your reality all along does not have to be the thought you carry into tomorrow. The soul has waited lifetimes for this, for you to stop bowing to the light and begin living the truth. So I leave you with this. What I am will you dare to whisper tonight? The one that bound you, or the one that finally sets you free?